Hello guys and welcome to another video. Rick Riordan has done it again. He is doing what he does best, and that is going back into the Percy Jackson universe in book form. That's right folks, he has written a new Percy Jackson book. And when I say Percy Jackson book, I don't mean another book in the Riordan verse, no folks. I mean another book in the Percy Jackson the Olympian series. He already came out with Percy Jackson the Olympians number 6, Percy Jackson and the Chalice of the Gods, and it followed Percy during the start of his senior year having to do some quest for the gods, so he will be able to go into Camp Jupiter University. New Rome University, not Camp Jupiter University. In that book, Percy's told that he has to complete 3 quests in order to be able to go to New Rome University. And throughout all that book, I thought that he was going to complete those 3 quests in that book. Plot twist, he only completes the first quest, which means that we are getting confirmed a new trilogy, unless in this new book he completes other 2 quests. But it's most likely that we're getting a whole trilogy. And this new book that he announced right after publishing that one is called Wrath of the Triple Goddess. And in case you don't know, Triple Goddess is a reference to Hecate, the goddess of magic. This book was announced a week after the first book was published, and it was announced that it's coming out this year, September 2024, so we only have a couple of months to prepare for it. So today we are looking at all the information that we know that we have about the Wrath of the Triple Goddess. Let's get into it. Most of the information that we have is from a post that Rick did on his blog, rickriordan.com, so let's check out what we do know. Wrath of the Triple Goddess. The next Percy Jackson adventure, Wrath of the Triple Goddess, now has cover art, as first revealed by the Hollywood Reporter. Let's check it out. So this is the American version of the cover, I believe, because the one I showed you before was the British one because I like it better. But this matches the original cover for Chalice of the Gods in the American market. So as we can see, the goddess has 3 faces. It either looks like a horse or a donkey, a lion, and a dog maybe. I'm confused because I thought her magical animal was a weasel that kept farting. Heroes of Olympus reference if you didn't get it. And of course she's holding 2 torches, which we do get to see in House of Hades. And it looks like she has like a little house, so maybe we're visiting her temple. So let's keep going on rickriordan.com and then we'll read more about that Hollywood Reporter article. The book will be published in North America and the UK markets on September 24th. So if that's anyone's birthday, happy birthday to you, you lucky. I just know that that's 3 days after my sister's wedding, which means I really have to finish revising it. This was in January, so he's probably already done with it, hopefully. Yikes, but don't worry, I'm pretty much on track compared to my usual writing schedule. That seems hectic. As for international markets and languages other than English, as usual, the pub dates depend on how quickly the publishers can get the books translated and into your hands for your country. I don't have confirmed dates, but I know all of our partners are working to make it happen ASAP. That's good to know. This is the second of 3 ideas I developed for Percy, so that confirms it. We are getting a trilogy. I'm so happy. Percy, Annabeth, and Grover-based adventures. 4 years ago, when we were initially trying to get Disney to support a Percy Jackson the Olympians TV show, and although I didn't need to write these books, once I had the ideas, they sort of developed a life of their own, as ideas sometimes do, and writing them felt like a good way to celebrate the show with my longtime readers. What's the second book about? Here's a little summary. Before we get into that, let's study the genius behind these 3 books that he's writing. He announced that he was making a TV show with Disney Plus, knowing damn well who he was going to cast and how the world was going to perceive it. By the way, I love Leah. I just know that people reacted very negatively to both her casting and Arian's, but in casting in general, people weren't happy with it because it's fair to say that the actors did not look like how the characters were described in most cases. Knowing damn well that a big chunk of the fandom wasn't going to be happy with those choices, Rick decided that even though he didn't need to anymore, he was still going to publish a new Percy Jackson book, not only new Percy Jackson book, but a new Percy Jackson book that ties together with the original 5, which he knows is everyone's favorite, basically everyone's favorite, and that they hold the most nostalgia. So even though old readers might not want to go into the show because of that, they would still get back into the Percy Jackson world through that, and maybe that would revive the nostalgia in the first 5 books enough for them to go back and watch the show. So I think that was genius on his part, like reviving the Percy Jackson hype for both both new and old readers is just like the best thing he could have possibly come up with. But yeah, let's hear a summary of what this is about. Percy Jackson has saved the world multiple times, battling monsters, titans, even death himself. So graduating high school should be a piece of cake, right? Wrong! Percy needs 3 college recommendation letters from the gods before his final school year comes to an end. And one thing Percy knows, the Greek gods don't do anything for free. He earned his first one by retrieving Ganymede's lost chalice. Now to secure his second letter, Percy and his friends Annabeth and Grover must agree to a new challenge. Pet sitting for the goddess Hecate while she's away over Halloween week. Whoa, I was not expecting that. Honestly, I haven't read this article before, so this is as news to me as it is to you. This seems like an incredible premise. Let's keep reading. They just need to follow her simple rules. 1, look after her pet polecat and mastiff like their life depends on it, because they do, as they usually do. 2, don't touch anything, especially Hecate's magic potions. This is going to be the Halloween themed episode that we've always wanted and that we truly deserve, because we basically get no themed episodes for Percy Jackson. We get summer, we even get like a 4th of July, but we've never gotten Thanksgiving, Christmas, Halloween, Easter, anything like that. I love themed episodes, so this is great. But when Grover's curiosity gets the better of him, of course it would be Grover, the friends find themselves with a giant goat. Oh my god, Grover's going to become a giant goat, a destroyed mansion, and Hecate's terrifying and potentially deadly pets on the loose in New York City. Oh my god, if Grover becomes a huge goat, then it's going to be Percival centered. I cannot. Now the trio only have days to find the pets and restore the mansion to order. Okay, so maybe he doesn't become a giant goat, but now I really want that to happen, at least for a couple of pages. Like, you can't say gigantic goat and not have my mind go straight into Grover's becoming a giant goat. So the trio only have a few days to find the pets and restore the mansion to order, or face the full fury of Hecate and her horrifying 3 heads. It's going to take luck, demigod wiles, and some old and new friends to hunt down the animals and set things right again. Old friends, oh my god. Okay, who could it be? So we have to think it's going to be someone who is in the Camp Half-Blood area, right? In New York at least. So who is in New York that can help with animals? I'm sorry, I wanted to be Nico and Will. I know they're there. They're in New York. They can help us. And Nico is taking care of Mrs. O'Leary now, so he can help. He can definitely help. Or maybe if this is Hecate related and animal related, we might get like a Hazel and Frank cameo. That actually makes so much more sense because it's animals and both of them have special connection to animals. I would much rather it be almost anyone else, so hopefully it will be Solangelo and not Frazel. I hate when I make so much sense and I don't want to. I don't want to be right in this case. But new friends, that's interesting. So we're getting introduced to new characters right now, or does it mean that it's the hunt? Oh my god, are the Hunters of Artemis gonna come up? Is it gonna be Talia? Talia is one of maybe my top 1 pick for a character that I want to make a cameo in this new trilogy. So maybe we get Talia and Reyna, old friends that can help, and then new hunters that we get to meet, and then maybe we get like a short story bind up of the hunters. That's, oh my god, my mind going wild, but I absolutely need that to happen. So the old friends, I think, is going to be either one of these 3 duos. It's either going to be Will and Nick, which is more like wishful thinking on my part, Frank and Hazel, which I think is a real possibility, or Talia and Reyna with the hunters. Let me know down below which duo do you think it's going to be, but I definitely think it's going to be one of those. I think I'm right. If not, Rachel and someone, but I don't know who I would pair her up with. Okay, the UK cover looks like this. So once again, a horse, a dog, and that here looks more like a tiger than a lion. And then we have Hecate with the torches. And we only have Percy and Annabeth on the cover. And we can see, wow, Percy is wearing like a really tight jeans on the hips section. And then they flare on the bottom. Like, wow, stylish. I didn't know that he would go for such a tight pairing set of jeans, but I love to see it. So I think Grover could potentially actually become a goat in this because he's not in the cover. And if you recall the cover for book 1 in the US edition, both of them can be found on the cover. Here it's just Percy and Annabeth. Also, I love to see that every time Annabeth's on the cover, she doesn't have curly hair. She has a ponytail, which fair, but then the straightest hair imaginable. So where are those princess curls, I ask you? They're not in the official covers. So Rick says, I love them both. Both artists are so incredibly talented. Whichever whatever cover you get. I hope you enjoy the story inside. I am getting the UK cover. Let's check out the other article to see what else we know. Okay, so this is an interview with Rick Riordan. It takes place around Halloween, which seemed appropriate to me for Hecate, the goddess of witchcraft and wizardry, who is our primary goddess in this volume. Basically, Percy and the gang have to house sit at Hecate's house and take care of her pets while she is out of town enjoying Halloween. Things obviously take a wrong turn, and then they had to figure out how to fix things. This is interesting because Halloween is like a celebration in Celtic mythology. Not even like a celebration, it's just one thing they did to warn off spirits. So it's interesting to me that Hecate, a Greek goddess, would celebrate that. I wonder if they're going to mention the different mythologies. Riordan teased a new book while on tour to promote Chalice of the Gods in the fall, but the cover Okay, for some reason I ignored this originally, but this article also says Percy and Annabeth and Grover settle into Hecate's seamlessly endless mansion and start getting acquainted with the fussy, terrifying animals. The trio had been warned not to touch anything, but while Percy and Annabeth are out at school, so we are getting more school moments again, I'm so happy. Grover can't resist drinking a strawberry-flavored potion in the laboratory, so Grover left unattended. Very, very bad. Recipe for disaster. It turns him into a giant frenzied goat, and after he rampages through the house, damaging everything inside and passes out. This is going to be so bad. Poor Percy. Hecuba and Gale escape. Now, my initial theory was that Grover was going to be turned into a goat for the whole book, but it seems like he turns into a goat off screen, and then we meet again with him, and then he's going to be Grover for the rest of the book, which is fine. I didn't need it to be a wholly Perciveth-centered book, but you know. Now the friends have to find Hecate's pets and somehow restore the house, all before Hecate gets back on Saturday. It's going to take luck, demigod wiles, and some old and new friends to hunt down the animals and set things right again. I'm wondering if that specific warning might be a hint to who the old friends might be, because it says luck, and we do know there's a goddess of luck out there, and it also says hunt down the animals. You know, like the hunt of Artemis? I don't know if I'm looking too much into that, you tell me. Back to the original programming. Okay, yeah, we don't know much else, but it's set to publish September 24th. So I kept digging and I found that in the Riordan wiki, it has a list of characters that has Percy Jackson, Annabeth Chase, Grover Underwood, Mrs. O'Leary, which is interesting. How would they know that? It makes sense since one of her pets is a dog to ask Mrs. O'Leary for help, so maybe she's one of the old friends. Hecate, obviously. Gale. At first I read Gabe as like, what is ugly Gabe doing here? But who is Gale? And also Hecuba. So let's check out who those might be. Gale does not like hearing about non-believers and con artists. She herself was once a witch, you see. Hecate to Hazel, House of Hades. Oh, Gale is the polecat. She was once a human witch, but was turned into a polecat by the goddess Hecate. She appears in the House of Hades as a pet of Hecate. Okay, so that makes sense that she would be here. Please tell me she's not one of the old friends. I want the ones I mentioned. Okay, and then Hecuba, I'm guessing that's the other pet. Hecuba is a black Labrador and a pet of Hecate. Okay, so that makes sense. I'm hoping that's not the old friends that are mentioned, but it's interesting to me that Mrs. O'Leary is added here. She's not one of Hecate's pets, so I'm wondering if this is a prediction or if they're basing this on something. And as trivia, we know that the Barnes & Noble edition of the book contains extra content about the witches of Greek mythology. Interesting, that's all we have. It's not a lot to go on. So I decided to check the Wikipedia page for this, and there's not a lot on here, but there is a Works by Rick Riordan page, and let me tell you, if I was a new fan, I would be so confused because it has Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the Heroes of Olympus, and the Trials of Apollo in the Camp Half-Blood Chronicles, plus standalone novels, supplementary books, adaptations, and the King Chronicles, Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard, plus short stories, other books, characters, and see also. So this is very confusing. And if you're still here and you're wondering how to read the Riordan verse in order, either like the easiest version you can find, the Camp Half-Blood Chronicles just by themselves. If you want to read publishing order or chronological order, I have a huge ass video dedicated to breaking it down in the simplest way possible, plus some free PDFs that you can download so you can visibly see where you're supposed to go next. Go watch that video, download those PDFs, because they You've been really helpful to a lot of people, which has made me super happy. And starting to read the Riordanverse in 2024, I imagine must be super confusing. So do yourself a favor and go watch that. And yeah, that's pretty much all we know about the book. So it's set in Halloween. Hecate is our main antagonist, leading lady, goddess. It's interesting to me that in the first book, Ganymede wasn't the only deity there, because obviously we had Iris and that other one, like the youth goddess, whose name I do not remember right now, plus the old guy, Gary. So that's 3 whole deities besides the one that was asking for the quest, Ganymede. I'm sorry, I coughed. Now it looks like I'm about to cry. Thinking about Ganymede and how Percy helped him with the chalice of the gods is making me emotional. Spoilers for the end of that book. Percy wanders through Olympus and sees a couple other gods there, like important gods. So we have at least like 4 to 6 important gods in that story, and only Hecate is mentioned here. So I'm guessing we might also have side quests. So the book will probably follow this structure. Percy is asked by Hecate to take care of her pets, and then Grover turns into a gigantic goat and Perceval has to wander through New York City and looking for the pets. There are 3 pets, which means that they can ask 3 different deities for help, or like meet 3 different deities along the way. Like one of them will be on the outside, another one will have a weird business because Greek gods usually tend to gravitate towards having like weird business ventures. And then along the way, I think we'll meet like a couple of known demigods. And since it's Halloween, is this going to be just like a one night kind of book? Because Halloween is just the one night, so we might not get the couple of days that we got in Chalice of the Gods. Is this going to be a 24-hour book? Well, she's away over Halloween week. That's very fun. We've never gotten a Rick Riordan book that's happened over that short amount of time. I'm pretty sure the shortest book to date in terms of amount of time is either The Sun and the Star or The Chalice of the Gods. Percy and Annabeth have a lot of work on their hands. Maybe we'll get Juniper. If Grover is a giant goat, maybe they'll call Juniper for help, and she probably has like a soft touch with animals. So maybe it'll be Juniper. I don't know. Hopefully it'll be the other ones I mentioned, but let me know down below which Camp Half-Blood camper you think is most likely to make an appearance, or Camp Jupiter camper if we have to reach that far. Who do you think are going to be the old friends? Who do you think are going to be the new friends? Are they going to be demigods or random mortals? Maybe Percy meets someone from his school and he finally has a mortal friend again. Please leave a like if you like this video. Comment down below what your predictions are for this book, because they could be very, very wild. We definitely have absolutely no information to go off, but please leave your wildest predictions in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and click that bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. I post videos just like this, always keeping you updated on the latest Rick Riordan news, and I post videos every single Friday, so that's a lot of news, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye!